character traits you've taken with you throughout your journey from like from your childhood and until now in your traveling experiences?
Spontaneity is a big one. I don't like traveling with plans because plans don't ever go as you planned. And you close yourself off to a lot of things if you have a very strict plan, and if you're just like free, then it's happened. I mean, being very free-spirited is something that I still have. Very generous and just compassionate and trying my best not to be judgmental of other people is something that I still hold on to, and traveling has definitely helped me with that. Because you don't know anyone's story. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what kind of day they've had, and having to remind myself their behaviors, their actions, their words are not, they most definitely don't have anything to do with me. A lot of times it's something that they're going through or something that they're struggling with, their own situation, and you just happen to be the target that is receiving it.
Because you know you did nothing to cause this.
Right.
That is very important, So for people, because you know there is someone who is struggling to, you know, find an escape, is probably going through anxiety or even finding themselves, what advice would you give them?
Allow yourself to go through it. Don't mask it, and don't try to escape from healing. That's the most important thing that I think people struggle with. They feel this, and instead of going through and deeper and allowing themselves to feel it, they try to run from it and outrun it, but you can't outrun it. And in actually trying to outrun it, you're becoming stagnant because you're not allowing yourself to heal from these things that are going to have a very huge factor on who you are as a person, on your core beliefs, on your relationships, on your aspirations, on your goals, because there's something inside of you that is screaming for you to tend to it. And until you do that, and it's very uncomfortable, and it's very scary, and it's very healing, all that self-care is beautiful, and roses and bubbly, and wine, like, no, that's all lies. Self-care is, it can be so debilitating, but it's so important because you do come out of it a lot better and healthier, and that starts to translate into other areas of your life that people don't do. So for me, I was very anxious, and I still am, but I was having like full-blown anxiety attacks. I was having suicide ideations. I was severely depressed, and I had to sit in it, and I had to really evaluate, why do I feel this way? Like, what do I feel? Because I was ignoring it. I was running from it. I literally left and went thousands of miles to Argentina. And then
this isn't gonna follow me.
Right. It's gonna stay over there in Michigan. And it didn't. But sitting through it and forcing myself to realize what it was that I was feeling, like this heart rate increase that you're feeling, this tightness in your chest, this is anxiety. This is what's happening. This is what you can do to start calming it down. So training myself to do breathing exercises, calming exercises, to recognize a symptom, and then educate myself and prepare myself with this tools and skills to then handle and deal with that symptom, as opposed to being freaked out by it and trying to mask it or trying to ignore it and act like it didn't happen. And I've become a lot better of a person. I'm not projecting my issues onto other people as much. I'm not taking things as personal as much. I'm more considerate to others. I'm more considerate to myself, most importantly, and okay with setting my boundaries and accepting people that can give me what I deserve and then give them what they deserve, as opposed to just wanting to be liked or wanting to be accepted. It's like, this is who I am, and I'm okay with it.
Right.
And that's a beautiful stage that unfortunately I feel like a lot of people don't get to, because they don't want to accept that they're hurting, that they have these wounds, that they have these traumas that they need to heal.
And that, I 100% agree with you. I've actually found myself having to look in the mirror and say, like you said, what is it that's bothering you? What is this feeling? Because it didn't come across you for no reason. It's here for a reason. So instead of just trying to ignore it and say, oh, it'll go away, you need to address it and say to yourself, okay, what caused this? What do I need to do to overcome this and to never face this again? Or if it does come back, how do I address it to where I handle it much different than how I am currently handling whatever it is, X, Y, and Z, that is bothering me? And I think that is just so important. That's something that like you said, a lot of us, some of us don't have that skill set to address it, and some of us don't have that courage to look in the mirror to tell ourselves, hey, you're depressed. Hey, you're very unhappy. Hey, this relationship isn't bringing you any fulfillment. Granted, not that it was supposed to in the beginning, that's on you, but a lot of us, we look for others to bring us fulfillment. And I can say that was me at a point in my life too. You know what I'm saying? Thinking that someone else is supposed to come into my life and fulfill, whether that's a friend, a mate, or a parent, you're supposed to do this. No one doesn't owe you anything. You owe that to yourself. But it takes a lot of courage to look in the mirror to tell yourself, Mykaya, girlfriend, you're unhappy. Get it, you know what I'm saying? Get it together. This job isn't bringing you any happiness, This friendship is toxic, and it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of accountability, and I think that's key too. Accountability is so important, and it's kind of, it could be embarrassing for some people to have to look and say, oh, I gotta be accountable for that. Why did I do that? Why did I allow that? But that is huge. Your mindset, girl.
It took a lot of work.
Look.
A lot of work.
I'm still on the road, so I understand.
Yeah. We all are.
We are. Yes, we are. And it's amazing. It's a relief when you get to a point to be able to handle different adverse situations. It feels great. It does. And it's just life. You're going to still go through it. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Right.
But, you can, I'm going to get through this,
Yeah.
I like that. So how would you describe the younger Wendy compared to the adult Wendy?
Oh, man. I see now, I'm 26. I'm turning 27 next month. And I see the younger Wendy, like the high school Wendy, for example, as this, hurt child that just didn't get certain things, from parents or just life in general. And I was so scared, and I just wanted love so much, but I was like, well, if you're not going to give it to me, fine, F you. And I put on this really hard facade that I was mean, I had an attitude, I had a very quick trigger. My mentality was, if it's you or me, it's going to be me. If you come at me, fight or flight, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight in a way that you're not going to come at me again, which caused problems. I had friends, but I was very intimidating, and now I'm still intimidating, but now it's I'm not intimidating, you're just intimidated by me, because I'm not doing anything to make you intimidated.
Absolutely.
It's confidence. But back then it was I'm gonna do stuff to make you intimidated.
Right, you're gonna respect me.
Right. It was all an act. It was all a facade, because I was so scared of being rejected and not getting love and not being accepted that I was I'm just gonna make it so it's not even a question. It's not gonna happen, but I don't have to wonder if it's gonna happen. I was very I didn't know how to control my mind. I didn't know how to control my thoughts. Did not know how to express myself. Love and affection, something as simple as hugs, saying I love you, was something that wasn't done in my household. So that was awkward for me. I would see friends and I want to come up and give you a hug and tell you how was it, I missed you, but then I was nah, that's weak. You're not gonna do that. And I had to overcome that. So now it's still a little uncomfortable for me, but being okay and realizing that there's strength in being vulnerable, and there's strength in showing love and being compassionate and letting people know how you feel through my words and through my actions, and not hiding it anymore, has given people around me much more positive vibes, but it's also come back to me twofold. So I wish older me now, and especially working with kids, I'm working with children, I'm looking at them girl, if you only knew.
It's gonna be and it's gonna be okay.
Right. I would have told younger me, it's okay. It's okay to be hurting. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to have these fears. You don't have to fight. For what? And you're fighting against the wrong people. Because I refused to heal what hurt me, I was bleeding on people that didn't cut me. And I kept doing that over and over again. And now I'm able to take that accountability and look at myself and acknowledge and address certain things that I'm doing that are toxic, detrimental, uncomfortable, because no one wants to accept things that they're doing are incorrect or just wrong. And like, no, you're doing this. No, I'm not. It's like, no, sit down. You're doing this, and you need to stop. And these are some steps you can take to slowly stop doing that and to reprogram your mind in a way and get away from these coping mechanisms that you've learned and retrain yourself to do more healthy habits and healthy behaviors. So, younger Wendy, I feel for her. I do. And now that I'm older, a lot makes so much more sense. But, I mean, I'm still happy that I went through all of that because I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now.
Right. That's so huge. People always say, well, if you could go back in time, because if I go back in time, this isn't going to be my story.
Right.
This
it's going to be
happen.
different.
Absolutely. Wow. That takes a lot to reflect on yourself and say, you know, like, I love the way you put that. You bled on people who did not cut you.
Favorite quote. I didn't make up
Where'd
that
you
quote.
get that?
I got it on Instagram.
You said that, y'all. That's where I heard it from. It's like, because when you work, I picture things when people say things to me. So to hear you say that, I'm picturing that, and it's just like, wow, you're dropping things on people, and I don't have the weapon in my hand. You know, I'm probably coming to you to say something encouraging, but you know, you just threw blood on me. Like, wow. That's huge. I like that. I do.
I love that quote.
I'm gonna take that.
Great. Yeah, please use
I'm gonna
it.
put dash Wendy Cortes.
Thank you.
So, what do you want to be remembered by?
By whom?
Everybody. Before I feel like, you know, and I'm gonna explain this actually. So, the recent passing of Nipsey. When I think about his passing, and I think about all that he's being remembered by, all that people weren't even educated to know the things that he was doing. And ever since his passing, I've always wondered, what do I want to be remembered by? So now that I interview people, I want to know, what do you want to be remembered by?
I don't think I've ever thought of that. Off the top of my head, I would say I would want to be remembered as a genuine person, like a person that had flaws, but was working on those flaws, a person that really tried their best to be a good person, like not just outwardly but emotionally, ethically, morally, and just had good values and left positive impacts on other people to give them just that little push they needed to be able to improve themselves and to be able to help themselves, and most importantly to be able to love themselves, flaws and all, and grow from that, as opposed to staying stuck in that box that they think they're in.
You're so inspiring.
Thank you.
You are. So are there any your social media accounts or any contact info you would like to give the audience and tell people where they can find you, people who want to reach out and ask you more questions about your adventures? Yeah.
So I tried to start a travel Instagram, but I'm not the best, because when I'm traveling, I'm not on my phone that much.
Bye. But your pictures are so beautiful.
That's some of the pictures. There's
thousands,
thousands, and like endless hours of videos, and I don't take the time to really learn how to edit pictures or videos. Otherwise, it'd be like I'd have YouTube pages and all that. And that's always been a goal. Quite frankly, I haven't made the time for it, because I can say I don't have the time, but I do. I just haven't med the time for it.
Yep, that's what we do.
My Instagram is wondrous underscore chingona, and that's wondrous WONDROUS underscore chingona. It's CHINGONA.
That's right.
Yeah, I had to write it out just to make sure. I was like, hold up.
The Disney. So, Wendy, so how were you able to afford to pay for these trips after your internships and after the grants and the scholarships?
Very important question. And when I was in school, so 2012, 2013, and 2014, I was able to get scholarships and grants and funding from the university. I was also saving up a lot of money. And when I was no longer getting scholarships, I was prioritizing my travel, and that was one of my budget items. So I don't eat out as much. I would cook my meals. I drove a 1997 Honda Hoopty. Like, that thing, some of the hubcaps had fallen off.
Somebody, I had a Geo Metro, my first car.
Yes.
Muffler was gone.
You heard me coming down the block because someone took my catalytic converter.
Oh my God.
But it got me from point A to point B. Like, it was, you know, I was a little embarrassed by it sometimes. I don't shop that much. Like, most of my clothes, I get them at thrift stores or Salvation Army. I don't buy things unless I absolutely need them. Most of my money goes towards food and like things for my dogs and travel. So I budgeted a lot, and I would save up because I knew, do I want this material thing or do I want this experience? For me, I see people spending money on material items. I'm like, bet, that looks beautiful, that's dope, great, you're enjoying it. But what are you really getting out of it? Because you can't take this with you to the grave. Like, a couple years from now, you're not going to remember it.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend that money you just spent on these shoes or this car note to drive this really fancy car, and I'm going to buy myself a round trip ticket to Brazil.
Tell them again for the people in the back, I swear.
If you have any money and you are able to go out and like buy clothing or buy electronics or pay for this lifestyle, are you really living that lifestyle, or are you just portraying that lifestyle? Because that's not going to give you anything other than a certain appearance. For whom? And yes, it might make you feel good, but if you can use that same money and go travel a different world, a different country, and be exposed to different foods that you've never been exposed to before, see different animals in their natural environment, not in cages.
Oh my God.
World views, and have these life-lasting and life-altering experiences for that same amount of money. For me, I look at those people like, you spending how much on a car? Like, that's a round trip ticket to Rome. Like, what?
And you can go shopping out there.
Exactly. So people's response, and I'd get a lot of trash talking to people when they like see my car. Like, Wendy, when are you gonna get a new car? Like, for what? Like, it still works. She still runs. You know, Dolores been through a lot with me because.
Okay, that's her name?
That was her name, Dolores. And I had that car for 7 years, didn't have an issue. You know, it was a hoopty, it was loud, and it was a little embarrassing, but it served its purpose. And I would look at those people driving their really nice cars. I'm like, I mean, that leather feels real nice, but...
How you feeling inside?
Right, like, I swam with sharks. What's up? I've swam with turtles and like stingrays. I've ran through jungles. I've jumped off waterfalls. I've lost count of the mountains that I've climbed and the sunrises that I've seen across all places of the world. Like, I'm cool with my hoopty.
Okay.
And it just comes to where you want your money to go, because you're gonna die at one point. And so many people are on this like race to acquire the most money, and then they get to a place where they have the money that they want, but it might be time for them to no longer be able to do certain things because of age or other life complications.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they're spending money on material things that aren't really giving them anything other than appearance and just surface level feel good. But deep down inside, like, it's not really doing anything for you. How is it helping you grow? How is it helping you prosper, like, emotionally, mentally, and just be happy? I don't believe it can. And if you can't afford to travel luxuriously, you can still afford to travel on a very shoestring budget and have an amazing time and come back to all your friends with their nice whips and what are they called? Their Yeezys, their red bottoms, electronics and all that, and still be able to sit in that room and know that you had some life-changing experiences that they will never have because they just don't see that. And that's okay. Everyone has their own view. That's just mine.
That is, and oh girl, you just gave me so much life. I'm probably looking back at this video like, girl, you're like gazing. Like, it's so inspirational, and it really is. Like, and I hope, and I'm really hoping that this opens a lot of eyes for people, and for people to really see the importance of exploring what else is out there, because there's more to Detroit. It's more than Detroit out there.
It is, and it's not as expensive as people think it is. For, let's say, for Australia, I flew to LA and then I paid $400 round trip to Australia and back.
Wait, what?
Right?
Girl, bye. I looked at a flight. It was like $3,000.
No, you have to learn where to fly out of, and you have to learn the dates. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are always it.
Do you book flights on? Is it book flights or fly out?
Flying out.
Girl,
Tuesdays and Thursdays. But yes,
swear,
the price do change depending on the day and the
I've set my
time.
alarm a few times at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. because they say the flights change on Tuesdays and Wednesday, but it's Thursday.
I don't know about that one. I just know I always try to fly. It's usually cheaper to fly out and back in on a Tuesday or Thursday.
Got it. Okay. More tips.
Taking longer flights. You know, we had to fly this past year. I went from Thailand and I was flying to the Philippines, and I could pay all this money to have a direct flight, or I can have a 28-hour flight, but that included a 12-hour layover in Singapore. Yes, so I'm gonna go and do that.
Yes.
You can stay in rooms like hostels I've stayed in some that I paid $6 a night, and they were safe and they were clean. You can do Airbnbs now, or casas particulares, which are locals that are renting out their rooms to you, and you're paying a couple of dollars. Don't stay in resorts. You're not getting an authentic experience anyway, and you're paying money for, again, luxuries. I'm experiences over luxuries all day, every day.
Solo.
Different search engines like Momondo.com, Skyscanner.com, certain apps like Hopper. It'll tell you certain days that it's cheaper if you do have flexible dates. Looking up different airports, like here in Detroit, I'll look at flying out of Detroit, flying out of Windsor, and flying out of Chicago. Or going to different countries first. Like if I were to fly out of Detroit to go to Ireland, it'd be at least 3 times the cost. Or I could fly from Detroit to Iceland and then to Ireland and pay, I think it was about between $300 and $400.
Oh my God, you're like the couponer for traveling.
Yes, you have to do it. You have to. But there are ways to go about it. You just have to learn the system, learn the different apps and skills, and then be a little bit patient. And you're gonna have to invest a little bit more time into it. But you're still going to get that experience.
Right, and that's awesome. I want to thank you so much for unlocking your story with me and having just the courage to say, I want to tell my story. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me.
I mean, I appreciate the opportunity. Not many people get to share this, and it's something that it's still difficult to talk about, but I want to be able to move past that and to talk about it to other people. And if it has even a slither of motivation or inspiration for someone out there that just needed to hear that, like, let me give this to you.
Right, right. This is my token of appreciation.
Right, so thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, of course. Thank you. And I want to thank all of you guys for staying locked into another episode of Unlock with Keys. Thank you. Thank you. Can I give you a hug? Yes.